All right, graph the hyperbola. And so um, we've got y squared divided by 4 minus x squared divided by 25 equals 1. And so hopefully as you look at that you see that the center is going to be on the origin because it's y minus 0 squared and x minus 0 squared. So there's our center. Center is at 0, 0. And now hopefully you see this one's a little bit different than the last one we did. The last one was a positive x squared, and this time y squared is the positive term. And so this is going to be opening up and down. It's going to be opening kind of along in the y-axis. And so we've got our vertex are going to be at the square root of 4 above and below the center. So plus 2 and minus 2. There's our foci. 0, negative 2, and 0, 2. Oop, not our foci. Those are our vertices. 0, 2, and 0, negative 2. Along the horizontal axis here, the would-be vertices, if the x term was positive, are going to be out 5 because it's the square root of 25. So 5 to the left and 5 to the right. That means we can also sketch in our box now at this point. Or we're going to use the box to find our asymptotes. But before we get there, let's find where our foci are at. So the foci are the longest piece out of the distance from the center to the vertex, the distance from the center to the would-be vertex, and then out to our focus. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Our distance from our center to our vertex is 2 squared, or is 2, and then that'll be squared. Our distance from our center to the would-be vertex is 5, and then that squared equals the distance from the center to the foci squared. So that's 4 plus 25 equals c squared. And that is 29 equals c squared, which c then equals the square root of 29. Now that value is somewhere between, actually, let me write that a little bit differently. The c is greater than 5, because the square root of 25 is 5, so 5 is less than c, which is less than 6, because if this is the square root of 36, then it would be equal to 6, but it's less than that. So if we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's our foci, and 1, 2, or there's a focus, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's our other focus, and let's see, sketch in our asymptotes, and then we'll sketch our hyperbola. All right, so where are our foci? They are at the center, and they're vertical, so that they're going to have the same x value as our center on this one. So that's 0 and 0, and then it's up the square root of 29 and down the square root of 29, so negative square root of 29. All right, and now let's sketch in our hyperbola. So there's our vertex, and it's opening, getting closer and closer and closer to the asymptote. And same thing over on this side. Never quite reaches it, but it's going to get closer and closer and closer. Closer and closer and closer. So there's our hyperbola there in blue. All right, last part, find the equation of the asymptotes. And so if we put this into point slope form, we've got y minus v equals the slope plus or minus the slope times x minus h. And you might be more used to seeing k right here instead of v. I like to use v just to remind me it's a vertical change versus my horizontal change. Um, the h and the k or the h and the v are the coordinates of the origin though, and they're both 0. So minus 0 and minus 0. And our slope, if we were looking at the slope of the asymptote, it's going to be the square root of the denominator on the y term, because you have rise over run. Rise over run, just to remind you of that. So it's always y, whether or not y is the positive or negative fraction, doesn't make a difference. Y is always rise. So it's going to be rising 2, running 5. So our equation then is y is equal to plus or minus 2/5 times x. All right. Hope that helped.